Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering On the Origin of the World, Part 1.
Yes.
And look what we have right in front of us. So Ruin was kind enough to pick up these little book stands.
I got them for free.
You got them for free?
At Amazon Vine.
Amazon Vine? What is that?
Invite only. You review items, you get them for free.
Seriously?
Well, it counts as taxable income, the value of the item, but you know.
Oh, okay.
As long as you stay.
Still though, all right.
Yeah.
Didn't know that, but either way, so are you gonna leave a review for these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Based on their performance on our show.
All right. Yeah. We'll do that. Okay. So we are, once we, especially on Sundays, since we use way more books on those, we're just going to be surrounded by them. The piles will continue to get higher, and our defenses will continue to get stronger.
Yes.
You won't be able to see them anymore.
The Firmament
It'll
Defense
just be
Squad.
books.
Right. Here's this one over here. This is the Greek New Testament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, this should make the show easier when we have to reference a bunch of books at the same time.
I'm kind of worried about it looking like too off-putting.
It does on your camera right now with where the Testament is.
Is it? Okay.
We'll have to figure out a good placement for them.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to redo the table structure to make it better overall.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it's not too weird looking.
Yeah, we'll be able to probably just adjust the camera or something, you know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Either way. So we are covering On the Origin of the World today.
Yes, and I'm reading from the Nag Hammadi scriptures, the revised and updated translation of sacred Gnostic texts, complete in one volume, edited by Marvin Mayer with an advisory board of Wolf Peter Funk, Paul Hubert Poiret, James M. Robinson, and introduced by Elaine H. Pagels, with a section on the origin of the world introduced and translated by Marvin Mayer, with a translation from the Coptic text based on the Coptic text in Nag Hammadi Codex 2, from the facsimile edition of the Nag Hammadi Codex's Codex 2, 109 through 39, among others. The title is construed from the contents of the text.
Yeah, it doesn't actually have a title.
Yes.
With it.
The title has also been used by scholars as, quote, the treatise without a title.
Okay, well, I'm glad that they picked one.
Yeah.
See, the bookshelf behind us, it wouldn't really serve our purposes because, like, we want to both have, a decent presentation, but also have, like, an easier way to open up and read all these books on the show.
So I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but if you have a big book like this open in front of you.
Yeah.
And you have other books that are like down flat in front of it.
Yeah.
Like it's actually kind of awkward to read the ones that are further away. So these should hopefully make it a lot easier.
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, I'm sure that they will. Let's hope they just don't look too, like, I don't know, gaudy, I guess.
Yeah. And what are you reading from?
I am reading from Lost Scriptures, books that did not make it into the New Testament, from Bart Ehrman. This is to go along with his book, Lost Christianities, which I do recommend. So this Origin of the World portion. Of course, was discovered for the first time in Nag Hammadi. Many important aspects of Gnostic mythology are covered here. The existence of the divine pleroma before all things, the emergence of Yaldabaoth, the creator god, his generation of other divine beings, the creation of the material world, and the formation of the human race. As with other Gnostic myths, On the Origin of the World is largely based on an imaginative exposition of the opening chapters of Genesis. in which a number of gaps of the narrative, including the events that transpired before Genesis 1:1, are filled in. In many ways, the mythological exposition here is similar to what can be found in other important treatises of the Nag Hammadi library, but as a comparison with the secret book of John shows, there are key differences as well. Gnostic Christians did not have a single myth at the root of their religion, but a number of different ways of explaining the existence of the world and the place of humans within it. Scholars debate the dating of the work. Possibly it was written near the end of the 3rd century. The following excerpt gives approximately... Oh, this is why we were having such an issue. The following excerpt gives approximately 2/3 of the treatise from its beginning through the creation of Adam. So that explains why, because we were... Once again, we had this issue with this book not having all the material, seemingly. So we were wondering before the show, like, why his halfway point was not the same as my halfway point, but that explains it.
Yeah. So you only have 2/3 of the book.
Right, yeah.
But we're only covering half of it today.
We are, yeah. Half of the whole thing, and he has the whole thing.
Yeah. I have the whole thing here. And, yeah, I have an introduction that I can go through if you want.
Yeah, sure, yeah. A few things here and there wouldn't hurt.
Yep. So, on the origin of the world, the 5th tractate in Nag Hammadi Codex 2 is a long and thoughtful essay that addresses questions about the creation of the world, the formulation of humankind, and the end of the age. In addition to the complete Codex 2 version, this text is also known from a short fragment from Nag Hammadi Codex 13 and several fragments from a Coptic version housed in the British Library. The text is untitled in the extant manuscripts and has been given its present title on the basis of its contents. Elsewhere in the literature on the text, it is sometimes referred to with the unfortunate title Untitled Work, Schrift ohne Titel, and Écrit sans titre. The Codex 2 version of the text is translated here, though the other texts have also been consulted. On the Origin of the World is a learned work, a smart Gnostic essay by an author who uses argumentation, narration, and colorful illustration in order to demonstrate the basic points of a Gnostic worldview. Although On the Origins of the World does not discuss in any detail the unfolding of the divine fullness above, it does follow the saga of Yaldabaoth, the creator of this world, and adventures and misadventures of Adam, Eve, and the rest of humanity. In particular, the text discusses themes from Genesis in terms that recall Jubilees and the books of Enoch. And to these material are added Greco-Roman, Egyptian, and Christian reflections.
We'll see if it holds up with the life of Adam and Eve, though.
Right.
We'll see if it holds up, because that's the text that is really the true version.
Yeah. It may well have been a popular tract, since portions of 3 copies have survived in the Nag Hammadi library and elsewhere. On the Origin of the World builds self-consciously in a variety of literary sources, and within the text there are passages that seem to be related to at least 2 or 3 other Nag Hammadi texts. From the many parallels between the present text and the one immediately preceding it in Codex 2, The Nature of Rulers, it is obvious that there is a relationship between these 2 texts, though the precise nature of that relationship remains unknown. We should probably read that next.
Sure.
Louis Painshaw also sees similarities between On the Origins of the World and Ugnostos the Blessed. Further, the Song of Eve, rehearsed in On the Origin of the World, is introduced in such ways to recall comments of Adam in Nature of the Rulers, but the song itself follows closely lines from the poetry of Thunder, and there's an excerpt from there. I'm not going to quote it. So skipping ahead, there are a bunch of parallels that are talked about here. Another text noted in this work is the Archangelic Book of Moses the Prophet, and that is also cited in the Greek Magical Papyri.
Interesting.
The author of On the Origin of the World also incorporates etymological and other explanatory passages that seem to clarify the meaning of Gnostic points being addressed.
Yeah, they seem to reference a whole bunch of books here.
Thus, the name Yaldabaoth, which ordinarily is thought of by scholars to derive from the Aramaic for child of chaos, or less likely child of Sabaoth, is said in On the Origin of the World to mean young man, move over here.
Yeah, pass through to here is the translation that is in here.
Mm-hmm. In a more lighthearted vein, it's claimed that the names of the sons of Yaldabaoth, Yao, Eloi, and Astaphios, come from the baby talk going on in Yaldabaoth's nursery. In one of the more exotic sections of the texts on phoenixes, water serpents, and bulls of Egypt, the author discusses fantastic creatures as metaphors for Gnostic truths, and then concludes these great images have appeared only in Egypt, not in other lands, indicating that Egypt is like God's paradise. There's a bunch of other material that's here. I'm going to skip over that. I'm going to go straight to the end of the introduction. It says, On the Origin of the World is a Gnostic text, but it's difficult to classify the text more precisely than that. The tractate shows Christian features, especially in the last part, but also earlier. Yet most of the text does not seem to fundamentally be shaped by Christian concerns. There are Sethian, Valentian, and Manichaean motifs in the text, but the text itself cannot with confidence be identified specifically with any of those traditions. On account of the problems of language and comprehension, Bentley Leighton has called on the Coptic text an opus imperfectum, and Hans Gebhard Bethge concurs. On the Origin of the World was composed in Greek and, considering the Egyptian themes and the place of composition, was almost certainly Egypt, perhaps the cosmopolitan city of Alexandria. Berger, A. Pearson, and other scholars tend to assign a fairly late date of composition to the text, as we now have it.
Yeah, it seems
late
like
3rd or early 4th.
It seems like all the Christian stuff comes in part 2, actually. So when we go over this next week, we're gonna see a lot more of that Christian influence.
Yes, but some scholars, Pearson and Ponchard, say that it may be based on an earlier 2nd century manuscript. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, either way, what you have is an existing tradition that is Gnostic, and it has another explanation to, well, the origin of the world. So,
yeah. So with that being said, why don't I hop into the first part here?
Sounds good.
On the Origin of the World, prologue. In the beginning, since everyone, both the gods of the world and people, says that nothing existed before chaos, I shall prove that they are all wrong. Because they do not know the origin of chaos or its root. Here's the proof. Although certainly people in general are inclined to say that chaos is darkness, in actuality, chaos comes from a shadow. And it is the shadow that has been called darkness. The shadow comes from something that existed from the beginning, and so it's obvious that something in the beginning existed before chaos came into being, and chaos came after what was in the beginning.
This sounds very
Aryan.
Aryan? I was thinking of the cave analogy.
Oh, the cave. Yeah, the cave is maybe. I mean, he's basically just saying that everyone's wrong about this.
Well, yeah, he is. But he's saying that what everyone thought was like, so like our perception has been so caught up on this shadow that we think it's nothingness and it's darkness, but it has another source.
Right. So there is an argument that's being made here. It sounds Aryan to me because like the argument that there must be a pre-existent father to the son.
Oh yeah. That would have been. I mean, there are a few Christologies like that. Doesn't just have to be Arius.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what it reminded me of immediately. Let us consider the facts of the matter. And in particularly, what was in the beginning, from which chaos came. In this way will the truth be clearly demonstrated. Now we have a next section, narration, origin of Sophia, and the powers of the world.
Great.
After the world of the immortals was brought to completion out of the infinite, a being with this likeness, called Sophia, flowed from Pistis. That is wisdom and faith.
Yes. So wisdom, we've talked about biblical wisdom so many times. We don't really need to do a deep dive into wisdom, but pistis might be more important here. So the Greek, it does mean faith, but it's also used as part of phrases that could mean proof or evidence or anecdotal evidence, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
That's your proof, essentially. That's like your reasoning.
So like a naive realism.
In a way. So like there's a phrase called, pistis ek biou, which is proof from life. So that's your anecdotal evidence for things. Like this is just like the reason that I do, X, Y, or Z is because of my past experiences. And that's pistis ek biou.
Mm-hmm.
That's my faith.
Okay.
Like, either way, but that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah. That is that it seems reasonable based off of prior experience.
Yeah.
And that serves as proof.
Yeah.
Okay. This being expressed, its wish that it come to resemble the first light, and at once its wish appeared as a heavenly likeness with an incomprehensible greatness. This being came to be between the immortals and what came after them, like what is above, and Sophia served as a veil separating humanity from the things above.
Yeah, that tracks.
Okay.
We're always trying to attain the wisdom, so we have like a direct route to divine things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So basically, there's the argument that there's heaven, essentially, that is
Not quite.
created.
Not
the world of the immortals.
Right. Not quite. Continue on.
Okay. The aeon of truth has no shadow within it because the infinite light shines everywhere within it.
So
The text is amended. Mpefhon. The Coptic reads outside it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So now the eternal realm, that's the aeon.
Mm-hmm.
That is, so you could view it as heaven, but it would be improper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's saying that everyone's wrong, so it really shouldn't be construed as heaven. But this is a realm of divine beings, of pre-existent divine beings. This is not what you would find in heaven proper.
Mm. Okay. There is a shadow, however, outside of it, and the shadow has been called darkness. From the shadow appeared a power set over the darkness, and the powers that came afterward called the shadow limitless chaos. From it,
This is the first thing that lied,
yeah.
essentially. Yeah.
Um,
This is where I'm gonna. Well, I mean, because it kind of looks like it, right? So its exterior is shadow, which has been called by the name darkness. From it, there appeared a force presiding over the darkness, and the forces that came into being subsequent to them called the shadow the limitless chaos. So this is like the root of his problem.
right. Well, he's saying that human beings, you and I, are things that emerged out of it.
Oh,
I
okay,
guess.
sure.
Well, actually, it's going to
But-
get into it. It's going to get into what actually comes from here. So let's talk about that. From it, every sort of deity emerged, one after another, along with the whole world. So the shadow came after something that existed in the beginning, and then it became visible. The abyss also came from Pistis, whom we have mentioned. So basically, the whole world and all of the deities came out of this shadow.
Yeah, essentially. And
so Shadow the Hedgehog was the ultimate life form.
Yes.
Confirmed.
yeah, you're
Yes.
right. Yeah. Yeah, there's no arguing
Chaos
against that.
control.
Holy shit! It all adds up.
Was Sonic Adventure 2 a Gnostic video game?
Dude, I don't know.
Should
That's
we-
a serious
should we
big
look
deep
into it?
dive.
I would love to do an extreme
Deep dive.
deep dive into Sonic Adventure 2.
And its relation to Gnostic theology.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that does actually sound kind of fun, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay. The Shadow sensed that there was one stronger than it. It was jealous, and when it became pregnant by itself, all of a sudden it gave birth to envy. Since then, the principle of envy has appeared in all the aeons and their worlds. But
My
envy,
God is a jealous God.
yes, my God is a jealous God, and it's ever present.
Mhm.
But envy turned out to be an aborted fetus without any spirit in it, and it came into being as a shadow in an expanse of watery substance. Bitter wrath came into being from the shadow and was cast into a region of chaos.
Oh, and then it turned to wrath. Okay.
Yeah. So this is like Yahweh, right? It's
Jealousy
basically
turned to
a
wrath, yeah,
Yahweh
okay.
diss, right? The jealous God, the wrathful Yahweh, right?
Yeah.
Since that day, watery substance has been visible. What lurked in the shadow flowed out and appeared in chaos, just as all the afterbirth of a woman who gives birth to a baby flows out. So also the matter that came into being from the shadow was cast out. Matter did not come out of chaos. It was in chaos, in a region of chaos. Okay. So, not Yahweh. More like Tiamat.
Well, yeah, because that was already their ancient conception of chaos.
Right.
Because
This is basically just talking about the Enema Elish, right? Where Abzu and Tiamat are slain by Marduk, right?
sure. Also, don't engage. Don't engage.
I was hoping
this is-
I could prematurely
I understand
cut it
that this person that thinks that being an atheist is a mental illness, but we don't have to go down to their level. We don't have to stoop.
I could say the same.
You could say, don't though.
No.
Do not stoop down to their level. I'm just saying.
Well, anyways, let's talk about the appearance of Yaldabaoth.
Okay.
After these things happened, Pistis came and appeared over chaotic matter, which had been expelled like an aborted fetus without any spirit in it. For chaos is all limitless darkness and unfathomable water. When Pistis saw what came into being from her deficiency, she was disturbed. And her disturbance appeared as something frightful, and it fled to her in the chaos. She turned to it and blew into its face in the abyss, below all of the heavens. That's interesting. So, like, as these conceptions appear in the minds of these entities, like, they literally come into being.
Yes, they do.
And then they have to deal with them.
This actually reminds me of so what other work was that? It was an apocryphal one too. It was the one where where he was where God was, he could speak angels into existence, or there was an angel that could speak other angels into existence, right?
Yes. There's angels speaking angels.
Now, was it God? Maybe it was.
I think
maybe it
it's
was
God
Yeah.
speaking angels into existence. But
Yeah.
remember that God is bad in Gnosticism. He's the Demiurge. Right? So the world and all of these deities come out of the shadow
Yeah, essentially all that evil stuff.
Yeah, all of this stuff comes out of the shadow. So Pistis is looking at this. When Pistis saw what came into being from her deficiency, she was disturbed. Then she blew the disturbance's face into the abyss below all of the heavens. When Pistis Sophia wanted to cause this thing with no spirit to be made into a likeness of the divine and rule over matter and all its powers, for the first time an archon appeared out of the waters, lion-like in appearance, androgynous, with great authority in himself, but ignorant of where he came from. Okay.
Yeah. So of course that archon, a ruler,
Mm-hmm.
appeared out of the waters. Yeah, androgynous, having great authority within him, and ignorant of whence he had come into being. But all right, yeah.
When Pistis Sophia saw him moving in the depth of the waters, she said to him, "Young man, move over there," which is the meaning of Yaldabaoth. Since then, the faculty of speech has come into expression, and the faculty of speech pertains to the gods, angels, and people. The gods, angels, and people have brought to completion what has come into being by means of the word. Okay, so here we have it. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right?
Yeah, here we go.
That's
Okay.
John, right? So, the argument here is that this Word is actually Yaldabaoth, right? Because it is the first word,
Right.
and therefore it is like the purest expression of words, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
It
Yeah.
is the most essential foundational word.
Yeah, I could see that.
The ruler Yaldabaoth.
Yeah, and he's completely, except this one is ignorant of course, the
The text
course, the
reads
greater-
Yaldabaoth.
the greater aeon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The entity is called Yaldabaoth, but the text reads Yaltabaoth.
Oh, interesting thing about the Chris, stop. It's a bad idea.
on.
It's a bad. Stop engaging.
Funny.
Stop engaging.
I get chat rate of 2.
Amazing. What I will say about the fool in his heart says there is no God. If you actually bothered reading the Psalms, in fact, we did a reading of those Psalms on Atheist Sunday School on that show, and if you go back and check those, you can actually see that they don't mean what you think they mean. So
Yes.
if you bothered to actually read them in context, you would see that they're not talking about atheists.
No.
They're just not.
No, they're talking about professing believers who don't actually believe.
Yeah, false belief. Guys who just say they believe but don't actually
Yeah,
believe.
those are the fools.
Yeah, at least
they're the
we're
ones who do
being
evil
honest.
stuff. Yeah, at least we're being honest. We're telling you straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first word. The ruler Yaldabaoth is ignorant of the power of Pistis. He did not see her face, but in the water he saw the likeness that spoke to him, and from that voice he called himself Yaldabaoth. Those who are perfect call him Ariel because he is like a lion. In Hebrew, the name Ariel is commonly understood to mean lion of God. The Demiurge is also lion-like in the secret book of John. too.
Yeah, and he specifically does say that he's lion-like in appearance. So yeah, it's interesting how often lions are used for not just like strength but royalty too.
Yeah, nobility.
Yeah. And also like the Lion of Judah thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So any reference to a lion from there on has to be a reference to Yaldabaoth, right?
I mean that would track for something like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Ariel.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. After Yaldabaoth assumed authority over matter, Pistis Sophia withdrew up to her light. Then Yaldabaoth creates heaven and earth and produces sons. Do you want me to
I mean, I
switch it
can.
off with you?
Yeah. I can hop into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So
Can I
Yeah,
ask that you rotate that book towards you?
this book,
Brown one. Yeah.
you want me to rotate towards
It's
me?
definitely in the camera shot otherwise.
Okay, like this.
Nope, keep rotating it. Just like Ruben has them.
Oh,
Keep
like
going.
you mean?
Stop. Perfect. That looks way better.
Okay, well now this just looks stupid.
No, on camera it looks great. Anyway.
On the main camera, it looks stupid.
Both actually, it looks a lot better. Anyway.
Does it? I disagree, but okay. Yeah. Anyways, let's hop into this next section, I suppose. So you ended off with okay. So now when he had come to have authority over matter, Pistis Sophia withdrew up to her light.
Yes.
Okay. When the ruler saw his magnitude, and it was only himself that he saw nothing else except for water and darkness. Then he supposed that it was he alone who existed. His textual break,
His thought.
thank you, that works, yeah, was completed by verbal expression. It appeared as a spirit moving to and fro upon the waters. This is the Spirit of God moving over the face of the deep.
Mm-hmm.
And when that spirit appeared, the ruler set apart the watery substance, and what was dry was divided into another place. And from matter he made for himself an abode, and he called it heaven. I like how they're saying that heaven is made of matter.
Yes, it is a material place that exists.
Yeah, that's what they're going for. And that is something we haven't seen, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
At least not, like, we've read plenty of, texts where heaven exists. Obviously, that's in all the texts we read on these shows. But this one specifically has it as material from regular matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if we're following the timeline so far, first there's the Enema leash. Then there's
Well, I mean,
Sister Sophia creating Yahweh, Yaldabaoth.
it would be something like the Enuma Elish, what they were, it definitely resembles it, yeah.
Yeah. And prior to that, there was just like the abode of the immortals. What? Like actual heaven?
This like a super heaven.
Super.
Except it's not really heaven because like people wouldn't be going there. This is just a realm where they exist, where the immortals exist. They are above the gods of this world.
Mm.
Yeah. And from matter, the ruler made a footstool, and he called it earth. Next, the ruler had a thought, consistent with his nature, and by no means of verbal expression. He created in an androgyne.
Androgynous being.
Well, yeah, that's what that would be. He opened his mouth and cooed to him. Weird word to use there, but okay. When his eyes had been opened, he looked at his father, and he said to him, E. Then his father called him Iao.
A form of the ineffable divine name Yahweh.
Yeah, yeah.
In Greek,
There are a few
Yao
ways
is
to do it.
spelled Iao, and the first letter, iota, is pronounced like a long E or Y. Hence the baby talk E.
This would be much easier in if I had the original language. Of course, actually, this is Coptic, right?
Mhm.
Okay, never mind then. But it would probably be easier to read out them. But there are a whole bunch of names of God that are shortenings.
Yeah. But yeah, it's baby talk. It says E, so he names him after the letter.
The letter that he said. Okay, wow. Next, he created the second son. He cooed to him, and he opened his eyes and said to his father, Eh. His father called him Eloi.
Eloi.
Eloi. Okay.
A name
I was like
that
thinking of the League of Legends
resembles-
character. I was like, huh?
Huh?
Yes, it's a name that resembles the Hebrew for God El or Elohim.
Yeah. Next, he created the third son. He cooed to him, and he opened his eyes and said to his father, Ass. His father called him Estephios. These are the three sons of their father.
There's no commentary about Estephios.
Well, we're going to get a little bit of that here. 7 appeared in chaos, androgynous. So 7, okay. They have their masculine names and their feminine names. The feminine name is Pronoia, forethought. Pronoia Sambathus, which is week, like a week.
The name
the time
Sambathus
period.
resembles the Hebrew Shabbat or Sabbath.
That would make sense. And his son is called Yao. His feminine name is Lordship.
Mastery.
Okay. So Sabaoth, his feminine name is Deity. Ananias, his feminine name is Kingship. Eloeus, his feminine name is Jealousy. Orias, his feminine name is Wealth. And Estephias, his feminine name is Wisdom.
Sophia. They keep it as Sophia.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, they that would make sense to keep it as that. They have it in parentheses here, but yeah, that's it is important to note. There are 7 forces of the 7 heavens of chaos, and they were born androgynous, consistent with the immortal pattern that existed before them, according to the wish of Pistis. And that would be the faith that we were talking about before. So that the likeness of what had existed since the beginning might reign to the end. You, singular, which is important, by the way, you will find the effect of these names and the force of the male entities in the archangelic book of the prophet Moses.
Yes, a text with this name is known from the Greek magical papyri.
Ah, okay. Interesting. But I'm guessing we don't actually have the book anymore.
I don't think so.
Unfortunate. I'd like to read that.
But there are references, so it must have existed. Multiple references.
Yeah, absolutely. And the names of the female entities in the book of Nariah. I recognize that name.
Book of Noriah.
I know there's like...
see for reference, the thoughts of Noriah. Might be a reference to the first treatise of Oriah.
Interesting. Okay. So, where have I read that before? Was that in like a I feel like I may have read that name in like a... Oh! No, wait. I think it was in like a Roman trial that I had to read through for class. I think that was somebody's name in there. Nariah. I think so. I could be wrong. I forget the name of the actual work I was reading. Maybe it was Cicero. I don't remember. But I remember that name for some reason. Kind of sounds like more Moriah, like, you know, the mountain. But it's not. Anyways, now the prime parent, Yaldabaoth, since he possessed great authorities, created heavens for each of his offspring through verbal expression, creating them beautiful as dwelling places. And in each heaven he created great glories, 7 times excellent. Thrones and mansions and temples, and also chariots and virgin spirits, up to an invisible one and their glories, each one of these in his heaven. Mighty armies of God and lords and angels and archangels, countless myriads, so that they might serve.
So where it says...
See, this stands
an
in...
invisible one.
Yeah.
They say invisible realm here, and they say that the meaning of the phrase is uncertain, and the words may have been copied in error.
Well, here's the thing. So I'm not sure if this would work the same as the Coptic, but in Greek, what you can do is usually just use the singular article, and if it's in the same form as the thing you're talking about, like it's a way to relate it back to it. So let's say that there were a whole bunch of different forms of the in English. What you would do is, if you don't want to rewrite the whole word, you just have it in the same form as a the from a previous sentence or a previous thought. But in order to signify that this is, in fact, the noun that you're talking about, you just have to make sure it's in the same case.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if that transferred over to Coptic as well, but that is what happened in Greek.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's continue on. Right. So everything is being created all to serve. The account of these matters you will find in a precise manner in the first account of Uriah. Oh, okay. So that would be.
He's citing his sources.
Yeah, he is. But this, of course, might be the reference to the book of Neriah before, right? Or at least part of the works.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said that was an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And they were completed from this heaven to as far up as the sixth heaven, namely that of Sophia.
So where it says they were completed in this heaven, this could also be translated completed in this way. It's just a different way of amending the textual break, I guess.
Oh, classic textual breaks. Continuing on here. The heaven and his earth were destroyed by the troublemaker that was below them all, and the six heavens shook violently. For the forces of chaos knew who it was that had destroyed the heaven that was below them. And
Whoa. Yours says the powers of chaos knew who it was?
Yes.
Oh, mine says the powers of chaos did not know. There's a footnote. It says, as noted by Wolf Peter Funks, there are grammatical indications that the original text included the negative.
All right, then.
They're not detailed here.
Is there like a citation?
No.
All right, fine. I guess.
It just says it's noted by Wolf Peter Funk.
Okay, great. That could be in a book or in a paper or
in his personal statement.
Yeah, it could be anywhere. Great. All right, fantastic.
Written on a bar napkin.
Right. Yeah, it could be on a bar napkin.
In crayon.
See, that'd be pretty cool if it was on a bar napkin.
How would you
even
cite
crayon.
that?
Okay, so you would say that it's a bar napkin, and you would say which bar, and the city. You'd have to cite the location of the bar, and then the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
You don't have to give it a title.
Yeah, fine. Bar napkin. Yeah, like it would be the same way listing papyrus, right? The next one we find, we give it another number. So the first one.
What do you do it in APA style? Like, do you do like like name of the person who wrote it, the year, the title of the bar napkin, then the location?
Yeah. Yeah, you could do it like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you do like bar napkin 1. That's the first one that's found, the first bar napkin, and then
from Codex 1.
Right. And then the second one would, of course, be the second bar napkin. It's the same thing we do for papyrus. If we find like a scrap of papyrus, we're like, this is the first papyrus we found. It's P1, and then the second one was P2, and then they're still going. So
creative.
Yeah, that's right. Very creative. So that is how they cite things. Sometimes papyrus can like go together, like textually speaking, but be very far apart on that number scale because they were just found in a different order.
Mm-hmm. But this isn't papyrus. This is bar napkin, so it would be BN1.
Right. Okay, bar napkin 1. Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Anyway, why are we talking? Okay, let's continue on. Why don't you keep reading?
Yeah, I will. So yeah, apparently yours suggests that they did not know. So for the forces of chaos did not know who it was that had destroyed the heaven that was below them. And when Pistis knew about the breakage resulting from the disturbance, she sent forth her breath and bound him and cast him down into Tartarus.
Yep.
Since that day, the heaven, along with its earth, has consolidated itself through Sophia, the daughter of Yaldabaoth. Wait, she who is below them all. Wait, what? She wasn't the daughter.
No, this is Sophia Estephanos.
Oh, right. This is the other one.
And the
That's
feminine
right.
name of Astaphios is Sophia.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. This is the other one. Okay. Now, when the heavens had consolidated themselves along with their forces and all their administration, the prime parent became insolent, and he was honored by all the army of angels. And all the gods and their angels gave blessing and honor to him. And for his part he was delighted and continually boasted, saying to them, I have no need of anyone, he said. It is I who am God, and there is no other one that exists apart from me. There is no other God before me, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really love is the fact that Bart Ehrman went out of his way to put this singular citation of scripture in here. Like, he legit just put in Isaiah 45, 5 through 6, and 12. But also...
Yeah, mine does that too. It's an obvious reference.
Yeah, it's like, what? Really? Out of all the things you decided to expand upon, it's the obvious reference?
Yeah.
Whatever, man. And when he said this, he sinned against all the other mortal beings who give answer, and they laid it to his charge.
The meaning of this clause is uncertain, but apparently he sins against immortals.
Fair enough, yeah. Then, when Pistis saw the impiety of the chief ruler, she was filled with anger. She was invisible. She said, You are mistaken, Samael, that is, blind God. There is an immortal man of light who has been in existence before you and who will appear among your modeled forms. He will trample you to scorn just as potter's clay is pounded, and you will descend to your mother, the abyss, along with those that belong to you. For at the consummation of your works, and this is in plural, your works is plural, as in your is plural. I should say that. The entire defect that has become visible out of the truth will be abolished, and it will cease to be, and will be like what has never been. Saying this, Pistis revealed her likeness of her greatness in the waters, and so doing, she withdrew up to her light.
So, Sophia, as we typically would know, Sophia is Pistis here. Pistis Sophia.
Yeah.
And otherwise, so they're referring to her as Pistis. And Sophia, when we get references to Sophia, is Astaphios. Now, here, I want to point out, you say an immortal human covered in light.
So yes, this immortal one. Yeah, there is an immortal man of light who has been in existence before you and who will appear among your modeled forms. This is someone who will come in the flesh.
An enlightened immortal human exists before you and will appear within the forms you have shaped, which may have different implications.
Yeah. Right, yeah. But I think this sounds like pre-existent being.
Basically, Jesus is coming.
It's an incarnation for sure.
Right. Something Jesus-like is coming to beat up something Yahweh-like.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So this'll be good. Maybe we'll get another like anime battle, like in what was it? The Apocalypse of Elijah.
Yeah,
that was good stuff.
Why don't you keep going? I'm gonna hop to the restroom.
All right, you go ahead and don't die. Continuing on here.
Oh, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to anyone, Lawrence.
Yeah, don't die. That is the nicest thing I've ever said to anyone. You're right. So anyways, there's this immortal being that's gonna come and help out, I guess. Now, when Sabaoth, the son of Yaldabaoth, heard the voice of Pistis, he sang praises to her. And he condemned the father. at the word of Pistis, and he praised her because she had instructed them about the immortal man and his light. Then Pistis Sophia stretched out her finger and poured upon him some light from her light to be a condemnation of his father. So, yeah, this would be the importance of the Sabbath, I guess. Or something like it, right? Because this is a pre-existent being, right? But his name is this is Yahweh Sabaoth. That's what it would be. Yeah, that's the important figure here. Then when Sabaoth was when Sabaoth was illuminated, he received great authority against all the forces of chaos. Since that day, he has been called Lord of the Forces. Lord of the Forces, let's go. He hated his father, the darkness, and his mother, the abyss, and loathed his sister, the thought of the prime parent, which moved to and fro upon the waters. And because of his light, all the authorities of chaos were jealous of him. And when they had become disturbed, they made a great war in the seven heavens. Oh, shit. So we're talking about a war, a great war in the heavens. This is fantastic. Then when Pistis Sophia had seen the war, she dispatched 7 archangels to Sabaoth from her light. Good for her, I guess. They snatched him up to the 7th heaven. They stood before him as attendants. Furthermore, she sent him 3 more archangels and established the kingdom for him over everyone, so that he might dwell above the 12 gods of chaos. So there are 12 gods of chaos. I'm guessing one of these is supposed to be the biblical Yahweh, but one of that Yahweh's kids is now standing above them, being set higher than him by his grandmother, Yahweh's mother, Pistis Sophia. That's what's happening in here.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was this, war that she helped out with. Where was I? Right. Dwelling above the 12 gods of chaos. Now, when Sabaoth had taken up the place of repose in return for his repentance, Pistis also gave him her daughter Zoe. Or life, that's right, yeah.
Life.
That is the Greek word for
Exalted Eve. Zoe is the name for Eve in the Septuagint.
Oh, is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I should have checked that. I mean, we have a Septuagint. It's not on this table, but we have one here.
Oh, Zoe's always hot.
What?
What?
That's true. Zoes are always hot.
Yeah.
Anyways, Pistis also gave him her daughter Zoe, life, together with great authority, so that she might instruct him about all things that exist in the 8th heaven. And as he had authority, he made himself, first of all, a mansion. It is huge, magnificent, 7 times as great as all those that exist in the 7 heavens. So, all the stuff that Yahweh did before, this guy, his son, is just outdoing him.
Mm-hmm.
Got an 8th heaven.
Well, no, he's...
And you're about to
being
get
set above,
something very familiar.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I see it. And before his mansion, he created a throne, which was huge and was upon a 4-faced chariot called cherubim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Now the cherubim has 8 shapes per each of the 4 corners. Lion forms and calf forms and human forms and eagle forms. So this is the stuff from...
Oh, it keeps going on.
Oh, does it? Okay. So that all the forms amount to 64 forms. So they're all different.
Mm-hmm.
And he created 7 archangels that stood before it. He is the 8th and has authority. All the forms amount to 72. Yeah, I guess if you include the angels in him, okay. Furthermore, from this chariot, the 72 gods took shape. They took shape so that they might rule over the 72 languages of the people, and by that throne he created other serpent-like angels called seraphim, which praise him at all times. So these are the
72
angels.
is a traditional number of the number of nations in the world, right? So this is the gods of all of the nations.
That's right. Do you remember, I think, was it a Septuagint issue, I think, where one reading said, I think it may have been Septuagint and Hebrew versions, right? Where one reading said 72 and another one said 70?
I think so. It may be.
And I forget that, maybe that was for nations, right?
Yeah.
Nations or languages, or what book was that in? Was that in Genesis? No, it wasn't in
I don't
Genesis.
think so.
No, it was some apocryphal text, right?
Maybe.
It must have been.
Might have been. But anyways.
Was it Sibylline Oracles?
Oh, that's recent.
It might have been one of the early Sibylline oracles. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
If anyone remembers, let us know.
Yeah.
Anyways, the 72 thing. Yeah. Also, 72 demons in the Lesser Key of Solomon, the Goetia.
Sure, okay.
Also, 72 cards in the tarot.
Oh, are there really?
I think.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah, because there's 20 major arcana and there's 52 normal.
Oh, okay. I don't know that. I'm not
I
a
think.
So like what do I look like, a tarot guy to you?
Yeah. Kind of.
Wow, that's horrible. That's awful.
Like the
30
beard.
cards.
I need to stop whatever I'm doing now
30
then.
in Arcana and 52 in...
It depends on what deck you're using.
Yeah, right.
Is there's like the typical Golden Dawn like Rider-Waite deck that's based off of like the Hermetic Kabbalah, and then there's the Aleister Crowley version, which is different, which is based off of the Book of the Law. So at least I think it's based off of the Book of the Law.
I mean,
He
I
might
don't
have
know.
had his own like book that he did just for the Thoth deck. I'm not sure. He probably did. Knowing Crowley, he probably did.
Apparently Rachel has same as a standard of 72, but has also seen 78 and 82 card decks.
Yeah. And then
I know
there's-
nothing about tarot other than it is mostly used now for introspection, which is the healthy way, I would say, to use it. And in no other magic-related way is it healthy.
Oh, you mean that you don't think that generals should use divining tools to see if the heavens are in their favor when they go into battle?
The
No, I don't-
horoscopes
I don't
said
think they
my
should
heavens
do
would
that.
Be in my favor today.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I don't read that shit.
Yeah, they're on the same level there as horoscopes.
Yeah.
No, please use them for introspection. That's fine.
Yeah, why don't you read a little more and then I'll hop in.
I will. Okay. Thereafter, he created a congregation. The word that's used here is ecclesia, so it's church, of angels, thousands and myriads, numberless, which resembled the congregation in the eighth heaven, and a firstborn called Israel, which is the man that sees God. Wait, hold on. Didn't that name say, does that name mean struggle with God?
I think so.
So, wait, right? Am I mistaking that?
Because Jacob gets
Yeah, he's the one. He's
gets
the one who.
name when he wrestles
Yeah,
with God.
yeah, right. So this should be struggling or wrestling with God. Isn't that the name? I'm not
Yeah.
mixing
But now
up
it's
stories.
the person who sees God, apparently.
Okay, then. It's annoying.
This is from their perfect language.
Right. My bad, Gnostics.
Yeah.
It's from the perfect language. My fault. Please forgive me in your almighty
Hebrew is
wisdom.
only an approximation.
Right, yeah, it's just an approximation. Yeah, which is the man that sees God, and another being called Jesus Christ, who resembles the Savior above in the eighth heaven, and who sits at his right upon a revered throne.
Right
And-
to the right of Sabaoth.
Yeah. And at his left there sits the Virgin of the Holy Spirit upon a throne and glorifying him. Now, this is very interesting. So what they were doing is they were replaying, as it is in heaven, so it shall be on earth kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So they have a version of the story for Yahweh himself, where Yahweh is overtaken by one of his kids proper, one of his divine kids, right? And then they're going to replay the story later with Jesus. Or that's the idea. Or maybe he's just trying to...
No, they're all together as a family. No.
Right. Okay, right, because he's not... That's right. Because depending on how they view Jesus and the Christ figure, that could mean that either Christ is simply just, an extension, kind of acting like a replacement for his kid that he lost, right? Mm-hmm. Or he could be setting up for a replay of the events, except for a totally different purpose.
Yeah, of course, all this stuff that Sabaoth is doing is just all the stuff that Yaldabaoth was doing.
Well, this is, I guess, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So this is, because I was mixing him up with Yaldabaoth. That's my bad. So this is all Yaldabaoth stuff. Or sorry, this is all
Sabaoth.
Yeah, this is all Sabaoth stuff. So this one is the one who. So this is supposed to be Yahweh.
Well,
or supposed to be.
They're different entities that do different things that are associated with Yahweh.
Okay, yeah. They're different aspects of. No, I guess Yahweh isn't really.
See, they're
the same as a god.
From their creations of Yaldabaoth.
This is the whole Usia, right? They're of the same substance.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. So this is for Sabaoth, and so far he's doing pretty well. So, anyways, yeah, and the Virgin is on the other side of him, always glorifying him, and the 7 virgins stand before her, possessing 30 harps and psalteries and trumpets, glorifying him. And all the armies of the angels glorify him, and they bless him. Now where he sits is upon a throne of light with a great cloud that covers him. And there was no one with him in the cloud except Sophia, the daughter of Pistis, instructing him about all the things that exist in the 8th heaven, so that the likeness of those things might be created in order that his reign might endure until the consummation of the heavens of chaos and their forces. So until what is
the end.
Effectively. Yeah, it would be the end.
Yeah.
Now, Pistis Sophia set him apart from the darkness and summoned him to her right. And the prime parent she put at her left. Since that day, right has been called justice and left called wickedness. Rude.
Oof.
Now, because of this, they all received a realm, a cosmos, their own universe, their own world, in the congregation of justice and wickedness. Broken text. Stand.
So mine says,
broken text.
They all received a realm in the congregation of justice, and injustice is set over all their creations. The meaning of the sentence is unclear, and the Coptic text may need emendation. Possibly read the last clause as where they all stand on their foundations.
Yeah, mine's kind of similar to that. So in wickedness, stand upon a creature.
All right. Well, why don't I take over the reading here?
I don't know.
Sounds good.
Yaldabaoth produces death. When the chief creators of chaos saw his son Sabaoth and the glory in which he dwells and recognized that he was the greatest of all the authorities of chaos, he was jealous of him. He was angry, and he engendered death from his own death. Death was established over the sixth heaven, for Sabaoth had been carried away from there. So the complete number of the six authorities of chaos was realized. Since death was androgynous, he had sex with himself and produced 7 androgynous children.
Oh, that
These
came out of left field.
These are the names of the males: envy, wrath, tears, sighs, grief, lament, tearful groans. These are the names of the females.
That's a lot of ways of just being sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like lamenting,
Things related
tears,
to death.
sighing,
These are literally things that are produced by death, right?
jealousy, and I mean wrath. Maybe you could say that there's like a way in which you would call that.
Or related to death. Like things that could be conceptually,
Oh, but that just sounds so vague.
like these are forms, basically.
Sure, yeah, but that's just so vague.
Yeah. These are the names of the females: anger, pain, lust, sighs, curses, bitterness, strife. They had sex with each other, and each one conceived 7 children, so that the children total 49 androgynous demons. You will find their names in functions in the Book of Solomon. The precise identity of the source is unknown. Several known texts are attributed to Solomon, such as the Testament of Solomon.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
This could be a reference to that.
So we have read on this show. Was it the Testament?
Yeah.
Yeah, we read the Testament of Solomon.
Yeah.
We read the Testament of Solomon. We read a couple different books associated with Solomon.
Pretty big guy in the lore.
Yeah, yeah, very important when it comes to wisdom traditions.
Yeah. In the presence of these, Zoe, who dwells with Sabaoth, created 7 good androgynous powers. These are the names of the males: the one not jealous, the blessed, the joyful, the true, the one not envious, the beloved, the faithful. These are the names of the females: peace, gladness, joyfulness, blessedness, truth, love, faith. Many good and pure spirits come from these powers. You will find their accomplishments and functions in the configurations of the fate of heaven beneath the 12.
We have not had that.
This source is unknown.
Nope.
Man, I want that. That's like the complementary work to Solomon's.
Yeah, I want to know the
Yeah, right.
configurations of the fate of heaven beneath the 12.
I want to know more about this this book of Solomon that they're talking about, because I don't think this is the same book of Solomon that we read.
No, I don't. It also describes demons.
Oh, yeah, it does, but not nearly in the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yaldabaoth is distressed about his mistake. When the chief creator saw the reflection of Pistis in the waters, he was deeply distressed, especially when he heard her voice, which was like the first voice that called out to him of the waters.
No, Rachel, I think you might be right. I think you might be right. This guy really just wanted to write fanfics and wanted an outlet. That's also.
Yeah.
He was the very creative kind of type. He'd be on DeviantArt today.
And they fucked super hard and they got super pregnant.
Yeah, right.
Thanks.
When he knew that she was the one who gave him his name, he groaned. He was ashamed because of his transgression. And when he knew for certain that an enlightened immortal human existed before him, he was greatly disturbed, because earlier he had said to all the gods and their angels, "I am God, there is no other but me." For he feared that they might know another existed before him and condemn him. But the chief creator was a fool. He had contempt for condemnation and acted rashly. And he said, "If anything existed before me, let it appear so that we may see its light." And at once, look, light shone out of the 8th heaven and passed through all the heavens of the earth. Now Adam of light shines forth. When the chief creator saw that the light was beautiful as it shone forth, he was amazed and very much ashamed. The light appeared, and a human likeness was visible within it, and it was marvelous. No one saw it except the chief creator and Forethought, who was with him. But its light was visible to all the powers of the heavens, and so they were all disturbed by it. When Forethought saw this messenger of light, she fell in love with him. But he hated her because she was in darkness. She desired to mate with him, but she was not able. She was unable to satisfy her desire. She poured out her light upon the earth. Since then, this messenger has been called Adam of Light, which means the enlightened person of blood. The etymology may relate to the name Adam, to the Hebrew dam, blood.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So they took a different interpretation.
So
Instead of just being man,
is
they took
Forethought
the
like
dam.
Lilith?
Doesn't look like it as of yet, but I guess
She desired to mate with Adam. This is
Well,
this
here's
is not
the thing.
the clay Adam. This is the Adam of light.
Right, of course. So this Adam doesn't want to fuck her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very sad. And so far this is not sounding like any Lilith story.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, that Lilith story would not have been around.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a reference to Lilith.
Okay. The earth upon which the light of Forethought spread was called Holy Adamas, which means the holy adamantine earth. From the time on, all of the authorities have honored the blood of the Virgin, and the earth was purified because of the blood of the Virgin. So basically, Forethought kills herself.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 No more forethought, guys.
Nope.
Let's just wing it.
Maybe that's why we're
wouldn't
so
you see that
good at it.
coming?
Right. Wouldn't she see it coming?
It's literally Forethought. Okay. Yeah.
Is that irony?
See that coming?
It is irony,
Okay.
I think. That's intentional.
Okay.
Further, the water was purified by the reflection of Pistis Sophia, who appeared to the chief creator in the waters. Rightly, it has been said, through the waters. This reference to the waters recalls Genesis 1:26 and Gnostic interpretations of the appearance of the divine through the waters. Since the holy water gives life to all, it purifies all. Eros. Out of this first blood, Eros appeared. Eros is the Greek god of love and the lover of Psyche in Greek mythology.
Makes sense. Yeah. So now we're getting all Greek here.
Yes. Eros is androgynous. His masculine side is Himeros. The text reads Himeros. Himeros is the god of desire linked to Eros in Greek mythology. So it is Himeros. Because he is fire from the light, and his feminine side is a soul of blood from the substance of Forethought. He is extremely handsome in appearance, and more attractive than all the creatures of chaos. When all the gods and their angels saw Eros, they fell in love with him. He appeared within them all and made them burn with desire. Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Very, very sexy.
Yes. Just as many lamps are lit from a single lamp, and all the light is the same, but the light of the single lamp is not diminished.
He's got their loins burning.
Yeah. So also Eros was dispersed in all the creatures of chaos, but was not diminished. Just as Eros appeared in the middle of light and darkness, and sexual intercourse of Eros was accomplished in the middle of angels and people, so too the first sexual desire sprouted on earth.
See, that was an Enoch reference,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And furthermore, let's not forget about the sex that we had before with the children of death.
Yes, the androgynous children of death.
Yeah, they had
The other
intercourse with one
children as
another.
well that were androgynous.
Mhm.
They
Yeah,
had
those.
kids, too.
Well, it doesn't say that explicitly. It's that they
From
had
them
sex.
came good spirits.
Yeah, they had good. Yeah, so they had good spirits.
And it's implied that they had sex.
It's implied that they had sex, but it doesn't say that like it does for the other one.
Yeah. Now there's a little poem. Woman followed the earth. Marriage followed woman. Birth followed marriage. Decay followed birth. That's the end of the poem. After Eros, a grapevine sprouted up from the blood that was shed upon the earth, so that those who drink from the fruit of the vine are filled with sexual desire. After the grapevine, a fig tree and a pomegranate. Okay, they mean wine. After the grapevine, a fig tree and pomegranate tree sprouted up from the earth, along with the rest of the trees of every kind. And the seeds of the trees came from the semen of the authorities and their angels.
Man, this book is great. Yeah, so what is probably what it said was seed to kind of fit in with the parallel of the the pomegranate
Pomegranates have
before.
lots of seeds.
Yeah. So but yeah, it means semen. So
Yeah.
yeah, that would track.
Praise Jesus.
That's what we do on this show. All we do is praise Jesus.
All we do.
Yep.
It's all we ever
They say to do
do.
that a lot in the book.
Oh man, do they ever? So basically, wine makes you horny, and trees come from angel jizz. Okay.
Don't we all?
Okay. That's why plant cells are different than animal cells.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
See, they knew. They knew all the way back then.
Damn.
The creation of paradise. Then justice created paradise. Paradise is beautiful and is outside the circuit of the moon and the circuit of the sun in the land of pleasure, which is in the east in the rocky region.
This is fun. This is some good
Is this the Garden of Eden?
It's Tibet. It's in the mountains.
this
It's in the east.
Listen, this is outside. This is the translation that's used here. It's outside of the orbit of the moon and the orbit of the sun.
Yeah, so it's unaffected by the passage of time.
Probably. I think, yeah, it's timeless, I think is what it means.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But it like physically exists in a place. It's in a rocky region to the east.
Yeah, in the east, in the midst of the stones.
Yeah. Is this like
That.
could be Tibet, Shangri-La?
Oh, right, Shangri-La. That's right. Yeah. So that Billy Idol song stuck in my head now. But this is so in Eden. That wasn't was it? It wasn't east, was it? Because it was the center of the world, right? So, I guess
There were things east of Eden.
No, I know. I'm saying that Eden itself was thought to be the center of the world. So wherever this guy was from, viewed it to be from his east. So he was from the west of Eden.
But Jerusalem's the center of the world.
Wasn't Eden the center of the world in it was in one of the books we read.
Yeah, it was a Gnostic. Though.
No, it wasn't a Gnostic.
No?
No, we weren't at Gnosticism yet. It was another apocryphal book. But it was it Jubilees?
Could have been.
I am having so much trouble remembering. Honestly, a lot of these books seem to just kind of like
It's a lot of
meld
the same
together.
with occasional differences.
Yeah. So, but one of them definitely said that Eden was the center of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been Jubilees. It may have been the life of Adam and Eve. Yeah, I don't remember though.
Well, look, this place, it's east in a rocky region.
Yeah.
Desire dwells in the middle of the beautiful stately trees, the trees of life eternal, as it appeared by the will of God in the north of paradise to give immortality to the souls of holy people, or saints, who will leave their poor mottled bodies at the end of the age. The tree of life looks like the sun, and its branches are lovely. Its leaves are like the leaves of the cypress.
Yeah, the color of the tree of life is like the sun.
Mm-hmm. Its leaves are like the leaves of cypress. Its fruit is like the cluster of white grapes, and its height reaches the sky. Next to it is the tree of knowledge, gnosis here,
Sure.
and below, which is endowed with the power of God. It is glorious as the moon shining brightly, and its branches are lovely. Its leaves are like fig leaves, and its fruit is like a bunch of good, delicious dates. The tree of knowledge is in the north of paradise to arouse the souls from demonic stupor, so that they might come to the tree of life, eat its fruit, and condemn the authorities and their angels.
Is that what that's for? Okay.
Yes. The impact of this tree is described in the Holy Book. You are the tree of knowledge, which is in paradise, from which the first man ate. You opened his mind, and he loved his female partner, and condemned other strange figures, and he loathed them. The source of the quotation's unknown.
Yeah, it just says the sacred book in mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this goes along with a modern interpretation that many have, that the forbidden fruit is coitus.
Right.
Right. After this, the olive tree sprouted, and it was to purify kings and high priests of justice who were to come in the last days. The olive tree appeared through the light of the first Adam for the sake of the oil of anointing that kings and high priests would receive. And that is the end of the reading for today.
Yeah, that's the end of part one. Or I guess not even part one, just the first half of it.
So, Lawrence, what do you think of On the Origin of the World so far?
I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's great. It would be really great if we had the books that they make reference to.
That would be really nice. But you know what? As far as I'm concerned, this is a fantastic book. We get a whole other view of, a whole group of people that believe that there was instead another a higher reality, and God was at least Yahweh, the ruler of this world, was placed here by something else, and then his mother essentially had to say, no, stop that, I'm gonna have one of your kids rise up against you, and then it just gets but they're all from like the same usia, right? So the same substance, and this would track as a later text, anyways.
Yeah.
So, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying
this realm of the immortals. Where did that come from?
Right? Yeah, because they just had heaven before. This is a completely new thing.
Maybe it's referenced in that other thing.
Because they had other heavens.
There's a relationship between this book and a different book that was mentioned in the introduction.
Yeah.
So maybe the origin of
Justin, put it back in your pants.
the realm of the immortals is described in that book. Not sure.
That would be something we'd have to check.
Eventually, we'll read it.
Yeah. But it is there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Eros being seen as like just doing stuff, as being so fundamental. Actually,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Oh yeah. Well, it is fundamental.
Sure, yeah, but out of all of the Greek mythology, didn't consider him fundamental.
No. Which is strange.
Right? And Jews and Christians didn't really consider him fundamental. So, but he seems to be very fundamental here.
So basically, the author was making slash fiction at this point.
That is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what was happening.
Yep.
Which good for them.
Interesting book. Hey, if you enjoyed the stream today, give us a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, neighbors. Check us out on Patreon, where you can get all sorts of nice rewards. You could get yourself on the show. You could be in our hangouts. You could even, for just $1, get our video scripts. That's great. And if you want to be entered into a t-shirt giveaway each month, we do that.
For all patrons.
In fact, we're going to be doing that this Sunday, right?
Yeah. For all patrons, $10 and above every month, first Sunday of the month, you get entered into a t-shirt giveaway.
But if you don't want to if you don't want to do the giveaway thing, you just want to buy a shirt, you can click on the pinned shirt. You can buy it.
Yeah, look at
buy
that.
It.
That's one of my favorite shirts.
Do it.
Nothing new under the sun.
Shirt.
I love
buy
that
it
shirt
right now. I encourage you.
It's a reference to Ecclesiastes.
Yeah. We have an Amazon wish list filled with books, more books to add to the table, sit on stands and on the table.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of books here.
We need overhead books.
You know what we need to do? We need to invent actual magic and just have flying books that open up to the pages we need them.
Sonically levitated.
What I mean is
they're pretty cool too.
It's something that comes up at an angle. Hold something here, and it's got clips.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
to keep the pages in place, so that you have books that just absolutely surround us. We're not even visible to the audience.
Yeah, we're just noises, and you see books that occasionally move because we're flipping pages. But also, yes, you're gonna review how are you gonna review these stands?
They seem to be holding up. I'm going to have to wait until Sunday to see how they perform while we're moving pages.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's the real test. Yeah.
But, that's all the shilling. Send in your Lawrence diss tracks to MilwaukeeAtheist@gmail.com, and we will
see you on Sunday for the Bible.